Hi, I'm Stephanie Wilson-Coleman, known as the Empowerment Doctor, and today I want to talk about reacting versus responding to life's challenges. We all know that we've been in situations where things didn't go exactly like we expected them to go. There were obstacles, and everything that could happen happens. And if you're like me, sometimes you think you're the only person that this happens to, but it happens to a lot of people. Now, a lot of people tend to react to any kind of obstacle, setback, or challenges. See, reactions are reflective. They're ego-driven and only considering the short-term outcome. See, reactions make you feel better, but they don't resolve your issue effectively. And I know because I've tried. So responding is different though. It's intelligent, it's practical, it considers the long-term implications of your course of action. And people that react struggle, and they're known for making impulsive decisions. So we want to figure out how not to make impulsive decisions. So let's consider an example that will highlight the differences between reacting and responding. So imagine that you have a horrible boss. Some of us do, some of us don't. Today at work, he berates you for something that isn't your fault. And he calls you a name that you do not like, okay? He says that you're a worthless employee and that you leave work enraged and convinced that you can't take it anymore. Now, I know that's an out-of-the-box example, but I try those so that we don't get too caught up in our own stuff, okay? So reacting to this situation may entail quitting in a blaze of glory, okay? You march in the next day and you tell him exactly what you think of him, and you might even spit in his eye, stomp his feet, and shove your resignation letter in his mouth. Now, I know none of us do that, but boy, doesn't it sound like something we would want to do, but we don't want to do that, okay? However, when you get home, you realize that the job market is tight and you have no savings and no employment prospects. So perhaps responding to this situation might look like this. You determine that you need to find another job. Okay? You work on your resume and you start to put out feelers to everyone you know and everyone that you might even meet, because sometimes when you're looking for a job, you'll be surprised at the people that you meet. And you're looking for a position that's suitable for you. So you get in touch with a recruiter maybe, and you let them know that you're looking, okay? So you also can cut back on your expenses. You can start saving some money just in case you lose that job. We should all be saving some money just in case. And sometimes you just save some money because sometimes you just didn't lose a job. You just ready to stop working and have some fun in your life. So these are some things that you can do that will help you respond rather than react. Remember, we want to respond and not react. First thing we're going to do is steady ourselves. It's hard to be intelligent, logical, and practical when your emotions are off the chain. I know, okay? Never make an important decision when you're not cool, calm, and collected. Take the time you need. Just think about it and consider your options. In my case, one of the things I do is, if I can, I take a nap and get calm. I watch something funny and make sure that I get back into that right place so that I am steady, so that I don't say things that I wish that I will regret later. Then identify the problem. So what is the issue you need to resolve? That is the first question that I always ask, is what problem are we trying to solve? Think about what you want to change. But avoid changing a bunch of other things that may have a negative impact on your life. People when they want to make change, sometimes they want to make 12 changes. Now, you might need to make 12 changes, but you don't need to make them at the same time. So make one change. So an example could be is you could get away from your boss, but you can also do something maybe to drastically change your income, but take some small steps at first before you actually make the decision. Make sure we've identified the problem. Then be clear on the outcome that you desire. It's just as important to consider the outcome you desire as anything else. So you may hate your job, but you don't just want to get away from it. You want a good place to land. So you've got to consider all the options. Then make an intelligent plan. Create a plan that resolves your issue and gives you the outcome you desire. See, reacting only removes the initial problem. It doesn't provide a great outcome. A good plan does. So you don't want to jump out of the fire into the frying pan. You want to go to a place that's going to be better for you, and that's going to take time. Then you execute your plan. Use your plan. There are a lot of people that are great at making plans, but never execute them. And you're probably whispering, yeah, I know, because I know I've done that too. You don't want to be one of those people. So put your plan to test and see what happens. That's why when you're making these plans, you've got to be clear about the outcome that you desire, so that when you start to work your plan and execute everything, it works for you. So if you're someone that reacts to the challenges in your life, you already know the additional challenges that it's going to bring. So it's a perfect example of out of the frying pan into the fire. Okay. So avoid making decisions when you're upset also. Do it when you're calm. Okay. If you have to take a nap, take a nap. If you got to watch something funny on television or on your phone, do that. But make sure you're calm first. Then make the decision that will remove that challenge from your life in a way that leaves you better than you started. Life will be much easier this way. I'm Stephanie Wilson-Coleman, the Empowerment Doctor. I want you to know that life is too short to drink cheap champagne. So have a great day.